Hi, and welcome. I'm Dr. Kathy. And whether I was doing surgery in Guatemala, caring for infants, or teaching neonatal exams in Tanzania, caring for burn victims in Niger, teaching healthcare science in Korea, or traveling to Shanghai to learn Chinese medicine, I noticed the same thing worldwide. Patients needed better, healthier food choices. So how was I going to take all of my skills and talents as a doctor and former chef, turn them into one career? That's when I had an idea. I was going to swap one white coat for another. Welcome to The Doctor is In, Cooking with Kathy.
Hi, this is Dr. Kathy, the chef. So one of the things that people tend to ask me about is what types of equipment that I recommend are in your kitchen. Well, I'm going to tell you some of the basics, and then I'm also going to tell you a little bit about the advanced items and a little bit about what some of these are. So let's start with knives. I would recommend that you have at least 4 knives. Either a chef's knife, as you can see, this is a nice tapered knife. Nice heavy knife. This is good for slicing, chopping, dicing, as well as it's got the ability to cut through bones. It's pretty heavy. And get something that you really enjoy. And this is a chef's knife. It's one of these ones that's pretty much universally used. Or many chefs now are using a Japanese version of a chef's knife, which is a sentoku. And a sentoku is basically a chef's knife, but Japanese. And sentoku means, I think in Japanese it means 3 virtues. And basically it's great for slicing, dicing, and mincing. This is one of my favorite knives. And again, get whatever knife company you like. I have a specific one that I like to use, but get something that's good for you. And that's within your budget. So either one of these two would be a good basic chef's knife to have. Additionally, I recommend a bread knife or a serrated knife. This is great for a lot of different preparations and processes. You can cut a tomato with this. It's good for that, especially a nice delicate tomato, but it's fantastic for bread. Because of the serration on the knife, when you press down on it, you don't squish your bread. So this is great. And then the third knife that I would recommend would be a fillet knife. And sometimes you can use this as a utility knife, but this is a fillet knife. You can fillet fish with it. It's great for filleting and boning out chickens and turkeys and things like that. And then your final knife would be a paring knife. And this is just a small little utility knife. It's great if you are cutting an apple and trying to take off the stem of the apple. So this is a fantastic knife. So these are the 4 that I recommend. A chef's knife or a sentoku, a fillet knife, and a paring knife. And then you also need a really good pair of kitchen scissors that you dedicate only for using in the kitchen. And make sure that they're rust resistant and that they're easy to use. And most of them you can use both-handed. So this is great if you're right-handed or left-handed. Many of them are ambidextrous. Now the additional knives that I would also recommend would be a utility knife. And this is just a great knife for a lot of different processes, but it's one of the ones that I really enjoy having around. It also makes a terrific slicing knife if you're going to be slicing some meat, especially roasts and those types of items. This is a great knife. So these are the knives that I recommend, and put it into a nice wooden butcher block and keep them nice and sharp. And how do you do that? Something called a steel. And this is mandatory in your kitchen to keep your knives sharp. Whenever you're using your knives, I recommend that you steel your knives. Now, steeling your knife or daily sharpening your knife is an important process that you need to do in order to keep your knives fresh and sharp and good. And a sharp knife is less likely to cut you than a dull knife. There's many different ways to do it. You know, you've seen these chefs on TV, you know, like this. Easy way for me to show you how to do it is to take the knife away from you at an angle of about 10 degrees, 10 to 15 degrees, and give it a couple of scrapes down. Turn it at the same angle on both sides. Okay? Now you also want to sharpen your knives on a regular basis, but that's something I would recommend that you have done by somebody professional. If it's not done properly, it can actually damage your knives, so I would recommend sharpening them with someone professional. If there's any questions, you can read some of the comments below, and I will answer them for you to the best of my ability. Like I said, my favorite one is this Sentoku Japanese utility knife. It is one of my favorite tools.